We're back here in the studio, and we are with the first Vietnamese person to explore Antarctica, and it's the fabulous Miss Hồng. Welcome to the studio.
Thank you.
Okay, so how did your Antarctica trip start? And this was in '97, if I'm not wrong, right? It was in '97. There's no internet. How did you even get the information that there was such an expedition?
Yeah, it was 1997. Yes, I didn't have any internet or anything. No Facebook. Such a time. Anyway, but we hung out with lots of people, and among all those people, there was one working for the ABN AMRO Bank at that time. And one day she called me and said, "Hey, Hồng, do you want to go to Antarctica?" I said, "What, huh?" And so, like, for me at that time, it was like an opportunity to travel. Yeah. I didn't have any idea what Antarctica was and why I had to go there. And so I joined the competition, kind of like all sort of like essays, writing and interviews and sort of competition, and somehow I was selected. So the thing is, because at that time I was not aware of the environment protection or anything like that. I was just thinking of like, oh, it's another challenge for me, the crazy thing. I was young. I'm still young, of course, but I wanted to do something new and crazy to really like pull out all my abundant energy inside me, and so I joined the competition and I went there.
And you said in an interview that actually you did not know a lot of things, and when you went to that expedition, everything to you was new and you had a big culture shock. How did that culture shock play about?
So again, no internet. All you know about the world is like just some news from TV and like chit-chatting with some foreigners working in the same company. Yeah. And you thought that you knew everything about the world and about life. So we went there, and there was like 40 of us from 35 countries. And they were speaking all sort of accents of English. And they believed in different religions. And they were coming from even the Harvard, or they were like from the super poor families in South Africa trying to protect wildlife. So there was like a real culture shock when I just suddenly realized how stupid I was and how little I know about the world. And also, I came to realize that, oh, environment protection is just not littering. It means protection, environmental protection to me at that time. It was a lot bigger than that, and it was like how I saw all the human impacts on the vast continent that very few people would have been there. So it was a real life-changing experience.
So the first step that you got, that you put on Antarctica, how did that feel to you?
It felt cold, of course.
Very cold.
Very cold. It could go to a minus 82 degrees in winter. But we were there during summer. It was like minus 20. It's okay, like in Russia or some European countries would have that kind of temperature. But for me, it was just such a weird experience, weird feeling, because the first Vietnamese ever. Yes. And then before that, we had to go through 3 days going through because we took the ship like an icebreaker. And at that time we were so brave, like, wow, we're trying to save the world kind of things. And we didn't even take the seasickness pill. And the seasickness was insane. Like, we went through the Drake Passage, which is like the roughest sea in the whole world. Like, thousands of ships sank there. And we didn't know anything about it. I told you I was absolutely stupid.
And you didn't even know it was the most dangerous part of the sea.
So we didn't take the seasickness pill, and we like really went through hell. And then we came to Antarctica Sea, and everything was so calm and so quiet. Everyone was just like amazed at how beautiful the nature was. Like icebergs and penguins and seals and whales. Oh my God. You have to see them. So the first step that I really made on the continent is like, I felt like, oh my God, who am I? Why am I here? Why am I having this advantage? Why am I'm so lucky? So all that kind of like mixed feeling, kind of like really overwhelmed. And I think that at that moment I thought, okay, I have to do something to mark that this is the first Vietnamese ever So I put on my outside and doing crazy thing, and it was freezing cold. I almost died.
You literally put on the outside and just the outside.
Yeah, just the
-23.
outside. You know how tight it is. I cannot put anything under it, and I froze after that.
Well, you know, everything for the spirit of the nation.
Exactly. Well, yeah.
So what did you see exactly in Antarctica that made you think that, you know, environment is my thing and you want to do something to protect the environment?
So as I told you, I suddenly met with those scientists and environmentalists and activists, never heard of that word before. And they were like fighting for climate change and the world, and like, what? Why you are like that and you want to do something that even you cannot measure if you're successful or not? And suddenly I saw real passion. Suddenly I saw some like, oh, it seems like I never had a real passion in my life. I thought of like, I make a lot of money, okay, making money is my passion. Or going to nightclub or singing at karaoke, oh, it's so cool, it's my passion. It was not. I never had anything like a real passion. So at that moment, I like somehow it like changed everything I believed in. I thought, okay, I have to join this crazy force of people, crazy people trying to do something like this. And just because the nature was so amazing and the people were so amazing, and the cultural diversity and all the way how people interact, no matter how different they were, trying to do something really made me like, oh, probably I want to do the same thing. So
when it comes to environmental protection, right, a lot of us, you know, some of us do it because we want to protect ourselves, the human race. Some people do it because, you know, oh, they feel like they have this responsibility towards, you know, the future generation. Some people do it because they feel they have a responsibility towards animals, towards wildlife. Where is it for you? Like, what responsibility do you feel?
Actually, environmental protection for me is to save humans.
Save humans.
It's not really like, oh, why you have to care about the environment, you have to care about your own family. Actually, because I thought of, at that time I didn't have a family yet, but looking at the people who say we're doing this for future generation, so it's for your children, it's for your own health. If right now everyone's talking about like, oh, climate change is happening, floods and all the horrible things going on, it's all about humans, it's all about people. So back to the Antarctic thing, it changed me because I saw how we can do something about like the things that we think, oh, it's so big, like environment protection, it should be the work of the Ministry of the Environment, not our work, or it's a UN job, they are paid to do that. But it has to be like, everyone has to be aware that, oh, this is my thing, and it's not a job anymore, like it's just a lifestyle, it's a choice, rather than you have to like try hard to protect the environment.
Actually, that's a really, really interesting point. You know, you said it, environmental protection is a lifestyle.
Yeah.
How can we really portray, or how is that lifestyle already manifested in Vietnamese society today, and how is it not?
Well, I can't say that I'm proud that the Vietnamese people are aware of the environmental protection. And that's why I wanted to do something. Not everyone would have that kind of opportunity, what I went through. And people would say, oh, she went to Antarctica. Of course, she likes to protect the environment because she had the opportunity.
That's good logic. That's very good logic.
But I can say that not every one of us who went to Antarctica would come back and protect the environment. People are different, of course. But the thing is, when you see that you can do something like small for the big things, then you would want to have that lifestyle because it's more trendy, it's more cool. Like the environmental protection is like you have a kind of like very fancy kind of water bottle with you rather than the Lavi kind of like disposable bottle.
Yeah.
So that kind of, you trying to portray an eco warrior with being like super trendy. So for example, in our office, we are on the 5th floor in Ho Chi Minh City. Like in Hanoi language, it would be the 6th floor. Yeah. And we would all walk the stairs. We don't take the lift. Wow. And we always say to the other office staff, like, hey, it's like, oh, it's nhà quê to take the lift. Let's climb the stairs. So by that kind of way, you make people choose that lifestyle rather than say, hey, protect the environment, save the energy for the lift, climb the stairs, and people say, oh, it's a responsibility. But if you make that like a choice of lifestyle, people will do that.
Now you mentioned something that I think is really interesting, and how I feel like now, as we are progressing, as the world is progressing into environmental protection, of course, there's a lot of new technology that's sprung up, but also we're slowly reverting back to traditions. You know, people are now growing their own food, not using pesticides. People are taking the stairs, taking the bicycle.
Yep.
You know, so a lot of things people are actually going back to the traditions to also save the environment. Do you think tradition's a good thing to save the environment?
Tradition is definitely a good thing. I think that I'm not a traditional person. Well, not really.
You like your motorbike?
Well, not really in that sense, but I like the modern world. I like internet. I like to go out. I like to travel. And I'm not good at like being a traditional like woman, like cooking and taking care of family that much. But I totally believe that the way we lived in the past, well, I'm old enough to be proud to say that the way we lived in the past was really wonderful. Although it was like all the poverty time, we didn't have enough food to eat, but the way we care about the neighborhood, we care about like going hanging out, like children hanging out in the street together, rather than staying in their own home and not communicating with each other. That really violates whatever I believe in, like humanity. You have to go out there and being with the people, with nature, and plant your own trees. Everyone now likes to park under a tree, but no one wants to plant a tree. So in the past, people would like, have their own garden and have their own chicken if they want to have some eggs. And I believe that the more people are more like comfortable with the current life, they want to go back to their roots, and that would be a good lifestyle that people should.
So how did environment did or not help your journey towards Antarctica the second time?
Oh, okay. So the first time we went back like filled up with passion and emotion and inspiration, and I quit my job. I went everywhere and talked to everyone like, hey, let's protect the environment. The penguins are dying out there. And people would come and see me like a show.
They can't relate, right? They cannot relate
exactly.
to the penguins and polar bears and ice.
Exactly. So when awareness is just at the level of like, okay, talking about that and like showing beautiful PowerPoint presentation, you can't get people to action. So the second trip was when I realized that I have to engage more Vietnamese people to see the same thing that I saw and like to join my forces. And so I took more Vietnamese people. Of course, we had some more competition and kind of selection kind of process going on. And I went the second time with 6 people, Vietnamese people, like 6 of us went there. And instead of like just like talking about the awareness kind of things, we discussed a plan, like what we can do. So someone would go back and like do their improve, because she was working for an international school. She was improving the curriculum for environmental protection, for example. So we all had our own personal plan and go back and get people to real action. So the second trip was like more like action kind of things, and I believe that's how you change, you make the changes.
Wow, that's great, that's great. Do you believe in people going on strikes, or do you believe in, you know, not necessarily taking so much action, but taking an action to have their voice heard? Do you think that is an effective way?
That is the only way to get anything done right now. I think the Vietnamese people are a little like, it's because of culture and lots of other things, we are a little shy, and we don't dare to speak out, we don't dare to present our thoughts. So, and also, of course, because of other political context, if you can say, we cannot strike, we cannot go on strike, we cannot protest that much. But I think that people would have to realize that they have to speak up, they have to raise their voice on any concern that they might have. And I think social media right now is a great platform for people, even the very shy one, to share their thoughts and speak up and really spread out the words.
Absolutely.
And before any revolution or whatever can happen, I think communication and talking about it, raising up the concern, engaging more people, getting the community to join with you, it's the key thing for you to get any environmental protection.
So what is your, I would call it, what's your environmental muse? I know your environmental love right now. What's the environmental thing that's on your head?
Oh, I have so much going on in my head right now. I can pick out like climate change or wildlife. And you know about like how we are consuming wildlife right now.
Yeah.
So many endangered species already went extinct in Vietnam, like the rhino, and now we're killing tigers and elephant and pangolins, and we're eating everything that has four legs, people say.
And even insects as well.
And everything that moves. And I really like, okay, we have to do this. Oh, that's so urgent. Everything I really want to have actions on, and that's why I had to set up my organization to have more people like me, to have the same love, the same passion, the same desire to take action. And that's the only way, because you cannot act on yourself. And that's why my love is now like spread out in the small organization that I set up, like with like 14 people, young, much younger than me. And they also like, okay, got out of the university. HSBC is offering some beautiful salary, but this one is protecting the rhino, probably cooler. So I hate those people. And this is a big improvement I see compared to like 1997 when I came back and nobody cared about the environment. Right now, I think the young people are really kind of concerned about the environment, and I feel like, oh, so my love is now spread out evenly, and I'm happy about that.
That's awesome. What is the argument that you use to convince people to believe in the same cause that you do?
Not the same argument with different target audiences. There are people we can't change. For example, with this wildlife consumption, you know who are using those rhino horns or elephant ivory. They are like really powerful people. They would not watch our TVC or they would not really.
They would watch, but they would still consume.
Yeah, exactly. And they think that, oh, you NGO, what do you know? I am big, I'm powerful, I know everything.
And I need this for me, I need this for my business partner,
exactly.
I need this for business.
And they definitely confident that they know much better than we do. So we cannot really change them directly. We would go to change their children, for example. We would go to international school and say, hey, do you know that this is what's happening? And they would say, oh, my dad is having this thing at home. And then he would go back and say, hey, daddy, what are you doing? It's silly. And that's something that we cannot do. And that's why I think that we are trying to be like really like human being and being smart here. We cannot change everything overnight, but we have to do it small things, and we trying to approach all sort of different audiences to get to the same goal and cause. And I think it will take lots of years, but we will keep doing what we're doing.
So let's go on to talking about you and your command of the English language. Because you did share that when you first started out in the first expedition, you weren't able to understand a lot of the things that they were talking about. How did you improve your command of the language to this point?
Actually, I was at university. I was studying Russian. So in my time, everyone was studying Russian just like So, of course, we had English lessons as well. I had also another like diploma, whatever, in English, but it's not at all like whatever I'm using right now. And when I went to that Antarctica thing, I didn't understand half of what the Northern Irish man say, or the all different accents that we had in the group. I don't know how it became part of me, like English, just like suddenly it goes in and say, oh, it's not just a language. It makes you become another person. Because with English, and at that time in 1998, like later on, internet comes in, and with English, you are exposed to movies and CNN and all the wonderful new media that come in with English. And you would understand the songs that you were listening to for years and not understanding a thing about that. And so all that, songs and movies especially, are the one that made me like feel like, okay, English should be part of me. And when you like it, it comes in like really naturally. I didn't remember how struggle I had to, how much I had struggled with English, but one day I woke up and said, "Oh, hey, I can speak English now."
I'm sure it's a whole process, right?
Of course, yeah.
One day you wake up and think, my English is not perfect.
No. Years after that.
Years after that. So you're a woman, and there are very few women, in this field of environmental protection, because a lot of the people in Vietnam, people think, it has to be people in petrochemicals, or it has to be people in construction, it has to be people in agriculture. Does your family think that it's a good thing for a woman to be protecting the environment?
No.
Why not?
My parents are very traditional. So they believe that, hey, you have to work for the environment, for the government, and they insisted that I had to work for the environment and for the government. And I still, at that time, I still was working for the Vietnam Investment Review newspaper, which is like another English newspaper. Yes. And my parents were not absolutely happy about it. And then I went on that expedition, and then I went back and quit the job, and like go around and like talk to people free, no money, and no parents would want that. So, and also they saw dangers, they saw risks, they saw all the, what if you die there, or what if you, like, you cannot survive without money if you're just doing the volunteer job like that. They were not absolutely proud. Of course they were proud that what I went through, but they would still, in deep inside, they still want me to be like a teacher or an interpreter or something like that.
Well, now you're literally a teacher. Right? You're teaching, or you're spreading the message, and you're
more like that.
Ingraining the idea of environmental protection in
others. Right. But now, right now, they are proud, I think, after years and years and years.
When you were when you quit your job and you wanted to do this new thing, was it to you something that you were so sure about, or is it something that you want to do, you're unsure, you're a little bit scared? Were you scared at all?
When I went back, I was still so inspired. I was so sure, like, okay, I will quit my job. And then I even moved to Ho Chi Minh City, lived on my own, of course, with some friends as well. And we were like struggling with like a small salary, every day going to market, buy food and cook for ourselves, and doing all the volunteer job. The passion was big, and because we had such a like big passion and inspiration, we felt okay being in like in poor condition. But after a while, and when you suddenly realize that, okay, it seems that I don't have money to pay for my electricity bill, and I can't buy that new dress for the next event, and I realized that, probably I'm not doing the right thing the right way, because it's not just like you blindly do things without like having a vision or strategy or plan. It would not give you any good result. And that's when I realized that probably I have to join some organization or have a real fundraising plan. Yes. And that how you learn. Like you learn from like, of course, passion is a great thing, but it's not everything. You have to be a lot more strategic than that.
Right. Because one of the things that I talk a lot with my friends about is, how do we really contribute to a social cause? As people, normal day people, but also as people who can potentially spread that cause. And a lot of the people that I speak to is also like, as long as we're passionate about this, we're going to do this. But then some of us, I'm included, think that there has to be a balance between that, that passion and also the practicality of not yourself, but not just yourself, but also the goal that you're working on.
Yeah, exactly.
Financial practicality.
Exactly. And also, even if you look too kind of like unprofessional in a way of like, you're like a beggar rather than some environmentalists. The sponsors, or especially the corporate sponsors, would not like feel like they can trust you. So, and even with us from the beginning in the early years when I had so many volunteers with me, they work for free, but then they had to survive, and very many good, very good qualified members left just because they had to apply for a paid job. And then I realized that, okay, it's not passion that counts totally anymore. Yeah, we have to talk about the practicality of that, of the sustainability of that cause.
Why do corporates sponsor such a cause? Is it something that's going to help them raise the profile of their business, or what are some of the reasons why corporates?
I totally believe that. Business is business. Of course, all they care is profit, yes. But it doesn't mean that. It's not bad. Of course, you have to make profit so you can raise your staff and you can do other things. Yeah, exactly. But what they believe in, okay? If they can make profit and then they still think that, oh, I have to give back some to the community, that's a great thing. And that comes when some business would want to choose charity, like, okay, supporting children, or they want to do more with education. Yeah. So I think that it depends on the management as well. The management board or the CEO, if he or she loves the environment, she would pick environment. And that's why we would go to those that have that kind of, share the same passion.
Absolutely.
But right now, I think the Vietnamese business still care more on charity, like a real pure charity, yes. Like, okay, floods people and poor children, heart surgeries. They get more attention than environment and projection. I don't know when we can see the results. So we kind of like struggle with that too.
But I think also hopefully in the future, you know, businesses can think of environmental protection as, I mean, it's also a business sustainability initiative. Yeah. It's not just for the community, but it's also for their own business.
Exactly.
You know, yeah.
But very few would see that right now. I think big organizations, big companies, global ones would see that. But I want to, a lot of that, we really want to engage the Vietnamese one, because of course the international one, you already are aware, we don't have to change you anymore. I want to change the Vietnamese businesses.
All right, so we're going to move on to the next section, and it's going to be the yay or nay.
Oh.
We're going to ask you a series of questions, and you're going to answer yay if you believe in it, or nay if you don't.
Okay.
All right? Okay, so let's have the yay or nays coming up. Okay, so we're going to play a game of yay or nay, where you're going to answer yay to all the things that you say yes to, and nay to all the questions that you do not believe or agree to at all, all right? So we're going to start, number 1, Ice Bucket Challenge. It's a great game. Why not?
Because I hate that, and it was even colder than in Antarctica when we had to do the polar plunge into the sea.
And it's even colder than in Antarctica, really?
No, just kidding, but it was so horrible when you were not expecting it.
Yes.
In Antarctica, you were like so prepared that, okay, I would do anything to protect the environment. When, with the Ice Bucket Challenge, oh my God, what am I doing?
All right, nude for the environment. I will do it. You will do. Have you ever done such a thing?
We can't do it in Vietnam. We almost did it in Antarctica. In fact, we really, as I told you, we just did the polar plunge. Yeah. We jumped into the sea. It was freezing. And we thought of like being totally naked. But then because we had to send it to the UN after that, and they say, okay, let's be polite. So we put on our bikinis.
So you were still in the bikinis and jumping into the pool water.
Icy water.
That's crazy.
Yeah, that's insane, I know.
All right, vegetarian diet. I will eat it for the environment. You will eat a vegetarian. Are you on a vegetarian diet?
I am not 100%. I do 1 meal a day, vegetarian.
And is that to reduce the carbon footprint of the food?
Yeah, in reducing the impacts on it.
I see. Atomic energy, I believe in it. You don't believe in atomic energy? Even if this reduces the amount of coal burnt?
It's not the issue. It's not the answer to not burning coal. It should pose more threats to the environment and humans. Yeah. I would definitely say no to that.
All right. So incense burning. I agree to incense burning. No. Now this is something that's quite non-traditional.
Oh.
Yeah, so why do you not agree to incense burning?
For religious belief, I would agree to like one incense burning in like important family events, like, you know, the death anniversary of your family members. But the massive incense burning in pagodas and the way they just like burn it and then they just chuck it in like piles, and then they it's I don't think that it's the right way. And especially I think that I have seen articles about religious, like Buddhist leaders who would go up and say this is not the right way that you pay your tribute or respect to the deceased. And it totally emits so much gas, greenhouse gas in the environment.
I do feel, and I do believe that tradition can be changed and adjusted to the modern life. It doesn't have to be completely obliterated, but definitely can be changed to suit the environment a lot better.
Yeah.
All right. So iPhone, I believe in the iPhone. Yay. If you're an Apple fan.
I'm an Apple fan.
So do you?
Well, I'm two things.
Yes.
It's how to say, it's so easy to handle for old people like me, like cannot figure out how to get to super complicated things. I think it's very easy for stupid people like me to use. Second thing is it replaces all the cameras and everything is like all in one kind of device, and you can immediately communicate whatever you're thinking. And as I told you, I believe in communication. Like, you have to share your thoughts and your opinion.
Yes.
And iPhone, not just iPhone, of course, but
smartphones in general.
Yes. It's great things.
What about people burning the iPhone online, or people doing crazy, environmentally damaging things online just to show people what it looks like? No. Not even for the sake of experimenting and allowing people to see what a burning iPhone looks like?
But it is for what? For what purpose? If that would lead to kind of if that is lead to a call to action, like, okay, burning an iPhone means something, like lead to something that people can follow, or but if it's not just an experiment for nothing, then I would not go for it.
Keeping water warm all day during winter? No.
No, it's a waste of energy. You can always boil your water, warm your water whenever you need it.
Propaganda posters? Yes.
Yes. Communication.
Communication. Is it better than propaganda videos, in your opinion?
It's better.
Really? Interesting. Because I'm a video person, and I would...
You are a video person.
Yeah, I would say video.
I think I spend 90% of my time looking at Facebook and the still ones, not the video. For me, it's more like, especially for the people who are who don't have a lot of time. Say a video of 3 minutes. What if I don't see a thing after 3 minutes?
Right.
So I would just put that on the scale. Like, should I do it or should I move to the next image, which is a lot faster.
Absolutely.
But on some other cases, I would still go for the videos.
Absolutely. Cockroaches.
My enemy.
You don't like cockroaches? I hate them as well.
I hate them, and I'm scared of them. And I think they are probably the biggest challenge of my life. I can't overcome the fear of them. I don't know why. I would go anywhere. I would not want to be with a cockroach.
But there's been some research that cockroaches may be beneficial to the environment in the sense that they recycle certain things.
Yeah,
and
sure.
They're also very, very hardy.
Sure. They're survivors.
But no cockroaches in your campaigns for you?
Not really.
Not
I don't
really.
have to protect them. They're fine. They're fine without me.
All right. Thank you so much
Okay,
for answering our yays or
Is it
nays.
all? Oh, I want more.
Okay, what question do you want me to ask?
No, just kidding.